Let's stay with the weather and look at some of the preparations now in KwaZulu-Natal. Nonala Ndlovu, spokesperson for the KZN Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, joins us live now. Thank you so much for your time. Let's talk about, your concerns about this disruptive rainfall, as we've just heard now, if you were able to hear my colleague, Mduduzi Mthembu, but also the preparations that are being put in place to make sure that you do get a lot of people who may need help to safety.
Good evening to yourself, Bongwe, and good evening to the viewers. We are very concerned about the imminent inclement weather that has been predicted by the South African Weather Service. Because of these incidents, we really become very concerned now when these high-level warnings are issued. But what the Provincial Disaster Management Center has convened this morning a special job to make sure that the municipalities in those areas are on high alert and they prepare themselves to be ready to respond to whatever incidents that may occur. So as it is now, the teams are ready to respond to any community member that may be in. The community halls are open for temporary shelter for those that may be affected by flooding in their homes, so that they do have safe places that they can go to. But all in all, we encourage even community members to remain on high alert and be mindful of the weather patterns and not be all over the place, so that they are able to immediately run to shelter when the inclement weather hits.
So what are you doing then to make sure that that message does filter through to community members so that they actually are aware of what is coming?
Well, the first step that we've done, we've issued a media statement to all media houses, including the community media, the local media in the area. But the municipalities themselves are now conducting loud hailing throughout the communities just to make sure that people are aware of what may happen tomorrow.
What are the municipalities conducting?
They are loud hailing. They are using their vans, their public participation vans to loud hail across communities so that they are aware that there is a danger that is imminent.
And what about moving people who may be in vulnerable areas as well?
Well, at this stage, we haven't received reports of any communities being moved. Because you would know that these areas, as I said, they are rural areas, so they are sparsely populated, and it's not a usual phenomenon that there would be maybe in low-lying areas. So the people on the danger zone are just on high alert. So if it so happens that the rainfall becomes too much or their houses begin to be compromised, then they can move.
Okay.
But at this stage, there is no movement of people.
So, Nonala, the reason I'm asking you, especially because of rural parts, and as you say that they are sparsely, located, and also even some of the houses themselves may not be close to one another. So that could signal a problem, especially when someone is trying to get assistance and their neighbor is quite far away from them. There are structures that currently are vulnerable in some of these communities that when they're busy doing their rounds with loud hailers, they can see some of the houses whose structures even from outside could be compromised by the disruptive rainfall. So my question was, what is being done with those who live in houses like that? Because you don't want to be reactionary if possibly someone is in a vulnerable structure right now.
Well, as I have indicated, no people have been moved as yet. And the municipalities remain on high alert that if there is danger, then they will immediately move those people. And also another dynamic that we need to understand about rural people is that they're very hesitant to leave their homes because there's a real danger that if you leave your home, then it might be an opportunity for those opportunistic elements who want to come and steal. So they wouldn't move when there's no rain yet. That's just the dilemma that we constantly have to contend with.
And of course that dilemma is quite real because other people, as you say, wouldn't want to move. But let's talk about then, some of these community halls and these measures that you say the special jock has put in place. How many halls are available?
Well, I don't have that figure right now because it's across different municipalities. I don't want to lie. I don't have the figure of how many halls exactly are available. But each of the areas have got community hall that is available.
All right. And should people need to move to these structures, how long are you envisioning that they're going to be staying there? Because we've seen some of them saying that they would be there for lengthy, periods of time. That's why they don't want to move to these places, because it takes long for them to go back to their homes. So what is the plan around that then?
That's something that's very difficult to predict, because it really depends on what the damage is on the ground. Because some people move for shelter on a temporary basis, because at that point the house is flooded, and as soon as the water subsides, then they're able to go back to their homes. So we wouldn't be able to predict now how many structures will collapse, and so how many people will stay in those halls and for how long they will stay. And also, as I've indicated, even with the recent storms, the people in rural areas, they normally reside with their neighbors. So we've just opened the halls as a mitigation measure. But people in rural areas don't normally stay in halls for longer periods, because they do have options. And the homesteads usually have more than one dwelling. If one building collapses, there is another building in the same yard that they can use.
And would you say then, finally, very briefly, you've got all the resources that you need to be able to respond immediately, especially as part of this special JOC and the municipalities that are now on high alert? You have everything under control in terms of resources.
I'll be reluctant, after the April 22 storms, I'll be reluctant to say everything.
Yeah.
But I would say that we are adequately prepared for any eventuality that may happen, as long as it's not extreme like what we saw in 2022. But we do have adequate measures in place that will assist the communities.
All right, Nonala, thank you so much for providing us with that update. Appreciate it. That was Nonala Ndlovu, spokesperson for the KZN Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.